Hey yo, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. We are going to do a collective reading. We're going to use the Yin Yang Oracle. This is my new shirt. I love it. Okay. I just started this video, or I started a different video, but I trailed off into some shit that, like, wasn't conducive to the energy and space I'm trying to create with this reading, so here I am starting it over. So sorry, it's over. Today is Tom DeLonge's 50th birthday. If you don't know who Tom DeLonge is, he is the guitarist of Blink-182. Also was in Boxcar Racer and Angels and Airwaves. He headed Angels and Airwaves. Clothing line, Macbeth clothing line. Wow, that's crazy. The love of my life since I was 13. Okay, unrequited love got me ready for the real world. Alright, we have nurture, compassion, renewal, spark, facade, believes, projections, rejection, that was weird, reflections, projections, rejections also, that was a Freudian slip, party, external. This is like exactly like the other reading. The last one I did, navigating renewal. So, that's annoying. Let me shuffle some more. But I was just sitting here for like 5 minutes shuffling. Compassion and nurturing are needed in like a personal level. Or if you can't provide that for yourself, trying to find that from someone outside of you as you are... Oh my god. As you are navigating facade beliefs. The courage to change at the bottom of the deck. Party external. This is literally... So if you haven't watched that reading yet, go ahead and check that out. I'm going to try and steer it away as like a different situation. That was like 2 days ago. 3 days ago? Give me something new, bruh. So offer yourself a lot of compassion right now. I think there's a lot of illusions being dissolved right now. It's a gentle word for what we're experiencing on Earth. But the truth of the systems that we live under, the truth of history, the truth of people that a lot of people have, respected is coming out, and it's causing people to drop the masks. It's causing people to question their own validity within their own path. And that looks like reflections and projections. That looks like kind of reevaluating and maybe doing so. Maybe instead of taking things at face value, he's looking at his face. Like his face has been hollowed out, and what's in his hand is in his face. Is his face. So facade and beliefs. As these truths are coming to light, we are in the age of Aquarius. I say this every time, but Age of Aquarius always reminds me of the very end of The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Paul Rudd is so fun. Anyway, when they're all dancing to the Age of Aquarius. Let me see how long it lasts, because I feel like it's like 100. Age of Aquarius. So Aquarius is the zodiac sign that is representative of like humanitarianism, or doing things differently or new, or like Voyager, not vigilante, like on the front lines, like doing like for humanity, right? Like good people, good ideas. That's the energy of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius is how long? Oh yeah, I was off. It's actually 2,160 years long. So we are in this space where it's just beginning. So, I mean, obviously we can't really fathom that, just like we can't fathom like $1 billion, right? That's crazy. The shift isn't sudden. We're currently in a cusp or transitional phase between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. Which is interesting. I wonder why it goes backwards. Anyway. What I mean by that is Aqua comes before Pisces in the 12 signs, like in the calendar year. So it's interesting that this, I don't really know a lot about these ages, but it's, what? Let's look it up together. I know we're going on a side quest. What does Age of Aquarius mean? The Age of Aquarius is an astrological concept for a new spiritual era expected to bring global harmony, unity, enlightenment, and technological advancement. I like to think of Wakanda, right? Obviously, I just watched the second one for the first time, but I loved that. I would love for us to know if there are like civilizations in the ocean. I totally think there are. But anyway, it signifies a shift towards higher consciousness, community, and humanitarianism through astrologers' degrees on its exact start. See, that's the part of natal charts I don't really understand. Every planet is in a different degree, but I don't understand what it's measured against. So, I don't know. Look it up if you want to learn more. But all that to say is, you heard it, we're shifting into consciousness, and part of that is being awoken to truth, right? And when that truth happens, this ensues. Facades are exposed. People project. It's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty black and white. There are two paths. You're either a part of the problem or a part of the solution at this point in time. And obviously, for the next 2,000 years, I don't plan on being here for that. But if this is a time if we think about this with seeds and springs here, if this is a time that is setting the tone for the next 2,000 years, what can we do to support the future generations, right? How can we nurture and compassion this renewal and spark for humanity? Oh yeah, I'm glad this is going a totally different way than the other reading. Navigating renewal was the other reading I was talking about. There's a lot of similar energies. Go check it out. We do have party external. I think numbing ourselves is obviously not right, but I talked a lot about that in the other reading, so go check that out if that's feeling right. I would say party external in this case with this context that we just established. I think, I love 21 Pilots. I think that, instead of taking this party external as like a negative connotation, which I usually do, I usually associate party and external with negativity, because it can lead to a lot of, it's like DARE, when we were in DARE, that's a gateway, right? It's a gateway into other careless behaviors. But I think it's also a really important stage of everyone's life. Like I said a couple of readings ago, I don't remember what one is, but I was Smashly in college the first time around, so I get it. I also like to party, but maybe it's about this external instead of really, because with this layout right here we have facade beliefs, so we're all going to be challenged to reevaluate, and then part of that process is by seeing the things that we don't like. When you come into consciousness, when you become aware of yourself and the way you move, and you become aware of why you do certain things, the habits and things like that, that's essentially what consciousness is. It's being aware of the decisions you're making, not just doing things because you're told to do them, or because that's what everyone else is doing, but being actually aware of like not only yourself but also the plants, the animals, the natural world around you. When you start that process, there's a lot of layers to go through. There's a lot of things that you're going to be having to confront. That's what we call the integration of shadow. You're going to be confronted with your own behaviors, and they're going to be mirrored to you in the presence of other people. So in this party external energy, where we are seeking external validation, which is it's just an unconscious vibe. So instead of being in that space, we can say that the external is who we're impacting while we ourselves are going through this independent process. Because think about it, if every single person went through this process, which is my goal, I made a map because my coming into consciousness was incredibly violent for a really long time, like 2 decades. So I made a map, and that's what we do over here on YouTube. I'm supporting humanity in coming into consciousness, and it's a lifestyle change. It is not something that happens overnight. The dark night of the soul is not just a one-night situation. It is a painful, grueling process in which you confront your darkness, the things that you have done to others that have harmed them, the ways that you've been dishonest, right? I mean, it's like the 7 deadly sins, if you believe in that. The things that you know you've done. I mean, coming into consciousness is like being blatantly presented with right and wrong. And that's why I'm so like black and white in my readings, because yes, we each have our process, but there's 2 paths. You go through something difficult, you get through it, you decide one of 2 things. You decide, I am going to make sure everyone has to feel that pain that I felt because that wasn't fair. Or you come out of it and you're like, dude, that fucking sucked. What the fuck can I do to prevent other people from having to go through that, right? And then, so good versus evil, light and dark, right? It's pretty cut and dry at this point in time. And I think that's what this transition is, because Pisces energy, going back to the ages that we're experiencing, Pisces energy is very deep. I'm a Pisces sun sign, and Venus, I think, I don't know. But I feel like a textbook Pisces, but I'm also on the Aquarius cusp, which is known as the sensitivity cusp in the entire zodiac. So I'm an incredibly sensitive person. I'm not trying to center myself, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of why I know these things. Pisces energy can be very murky. It can be very dark. It depends on if you think about the ocean. It depends on if you're sitting at the beach with your toes in the sand, with the waves, coming up, and that's it. Or it depends on if you're going scuba diving, right? It depends on the depth that you are. And that's part of this process of releasing our facade, is recognizing who we've pretended to be, to protect who we really are. Ultimately, it is a protection. Okay. Love Rancid. Destination unknown. Cycles, change, and completion. So we're being called to plant seeds for a new beginning as we are ending cycles that are no longer serving us, right? As we are, the age, like, we are presented with so much information, but the crazy thing about this is you'd be like, oh, why can't everyone be on the same page? Like, in the future, looking back at this time, people are going to be like, what do you mean they all had access to this information, but not everybody, And so with the introduction of AI, artificial intelligence, or I heard someone say the other day, ancient information or something. It's like a co-opting, right? Because a lot of us have been put on this planet to support humanity, right? Like I said, I've been on this path for a really long time. And it started with my own betrayal of the systems. So it started with 9/11. It didn't start on 9/11, but it started in like 2004 or 5. I was learning about, I watched Loose Change, and I was learning about 9/11, and I was like, what the fuck? I was also studying like global studies because I was a peace and justice minor. And so my eyes were just being opened to so much that was wrong with the world. And I was like, what the fuck, right? Like, we learned about historical figures, even, we dove deeper, more than the ones that we just learned about in school. But, like, in this moment, look at what's happening. AI has been introduced forcibly on us. And I feel like this needs to be documented for the future. It's just, AI is being presented by those in power that want this technocratic social control system in place at a global scale. And it started with the pandemic of 2020, right? Well, I mean, it started in the 80s. I mean, it depends on what part you're looking at. I mean, it's always been this way. I believe that the people in charge are like vampires, right? Like they're immortal, like in an awful way. But anyway, that's my own personal belief. You don't have to take that. But what you can take from this is that when, oh god, I'm losing my thoughts. There's so many at once. Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. Shit, what was I talking about? Cycles, completion, reptilians. Oh, when people look back at this time, they're gonna be like, what do you mean people couldn't come together on one, like, agreement, right? Like, genocide is bad, slavery is bad. Like, what do you mean humans couldn't do that, right? And we're gonna have to, our consciousness, right, the part of us that knows what's right or wrong, our heart center, our soul, I believe our souls live on. You don't have to believe what I believe, but I do believe in reincarnation, and I believe that our souls are the energy force within us, like that spark, right? So anyway, as your soul grows aware of what's right and what's wrong and your participation in it, then changes are definitely necessary, right? And new seeds are imminent, right? It has to happen. And I believe it's going to be fascinating. So we have to talk about how AI has been forced on us, how people are being microchipped, right? Like the things that are happening right now are so barbaric, and like humanity should have graduated from this thousands of years ago. So it's like, what is the root of this problem? Like, why are these people in power continuing these cycles? Why? And I think that if enough humans were to ask ourselves of that, right, and realize that how we support that happening, right? I'm getting the movie Avatar, the first one. If you can't think about this like as a participant in it, which we all are, watch the movie Avatar and just try and get the concept of going to a different planet, and infiltrating the people there, and then trying to all all the resources. Hi, that is right now on this planet, in different countries. It's not a metaphor. And so I think that's when you're coming into consciousness, that's when you start to realize all the entertainment, all of the music, all of this is serving this purpose to keep us numb, dumb, and drunk and fucked up, right? Keep you consuming instead of creating, right? Like, we are humans. We are supposed to be creating, right? You can't spell heart or earth without art, right? So lovely bumper stickers, I know. But anyway, that's the whole point. So, what cycles is this bringing up for you? What are the things that are hitting you while I'm saying this? What are the things that you can release? Or if not ready to release, in the very least, be aware of. Wow, the same cards are totally coming out as the other reading. We have trust in divine timing with alchemy and ancestors, higher self on the bottom of the deck. The alchemy, you are the alchemy, okay? So as living human beings on this planet, we have the ability to make choices consciously. And when we do that, we alchemize that evil energy, right? Again, when something bad happens to you, one of two choices. I want everyone to have to do this because I had to go through it. Like the student loan thing, right? Those people who already paid their student loans when they were being forgiven. They're like, no way. Okay, that's that mentality. I had to do this, so you have to too. The boomers raised, the boomers were raised that way by their parents, right? Like, I had to walk to school uphill both ways, right? Like that mentality. And so right now we have those dinosaurs in power who have that mentality, except they're way more greedy, right? Regardless of what you believe they are, it's not sustainable. In the movie Avatar, what happened what would have happened if they got that tree? The entire Avatar people, what are they called? I don't know, would be wiped out because that was their life source energy. So the earth is a living being, and oil is like the blood, right? Oil is like what keeps the earth provides that. So when we've come to this place where oil is over extracted, they're like I said, they're vampires. They're literally draining the planet of like the oil, and then they're polluting the water and the land with that same oil, right? It's like this horrible cycle. Hemp can save the planet, honestly, if we like were to start planting hemp, but no, they've made it illegal. I tried to buy hemp seeds. They got taken by customs. Okay, that was a long time ago. I didn't know I don't really pay attention to laws. I'm gonna be so fucking for real with you. I don't whatever. Everything's a law right now. You can't do that. Alright, we have ego and vanity and pride and higher self. So I'm gonna take these two and this is a juxtaposition, self-care energy on the bottom of the deck. Take care of yourself, right? With this nurture and compassion first and foremost. Don't get to a point, because I made a reading I think right before the other renewal one about guilt. I don't know when it was, but the title was a line from the movie Just Friends, saying, forgiveness is more than saying sorry. Alright, if you've seen the movie, so funny. I don't always do the song lyrics, but that one came to me. Anyway, so we have the higher self and activation in ego and vanity and pride. So these two coming out together is exactly what we've been talking about with this other stuff, right? I mean, I talk about this constantly, just with different words. Rejection and why do I keep doing that? Projection and reflection, my God. And external and party is very egoic energy. So coming into, as you're making these conscious decisions, because it's not just you, it's literally the entire planet. Even the planet itself. We're switching into this, again, for the next 2,000 years. We're like in that BC era right now, right? After that, I don't know, 80? Are we in 80 time? I don't measure my life by Jesus, but he was cool. But anyway, ego is when you're constantly centering yourself, and then it's like the higher self activation. Your higher self is the version of you that is like dope as fuck without any problems, because you don't have to deal with any of this human shit, right? So think about the movie Avatar again, and think about how they lived before the white people got there, and then take that and put it to every country on this planet, okay? Colonization. The movie Avatar is colonization, and imperialism, which is like taking the resources and selling them. And then capitalism isn't really in that movie, but that's what we're experiencing. And I want you to know, if you are in the United States, that the empires only last about 250 years historically. So the United States is turning 250 this July. Okay, so there's a lot. Okay, so trust in divine timing is coming out very much, because I'm thinking about 2,000 years from now. I'm thinking about 250 years. And again, I think these are hard concepts for us to fathom, because again, we've centered ourselves enough in our understanding. And that's another way to explain this consciousness shift, is instead of centering ourselves in our understanding, we pull back our lens, right? Like we zoom out and we're like, oh, we're part of this like giant system, right? There's that trend on TikTok that's going around where it's like, oh, shouldn't you be embarrassed? And then it's like, no. And then it like zooms all the way out into the universe. Like, compared to other things, we are so small. But part of this system, the way that it has controlled people and it's kept people in control, is by this ego, right? This external energy. Again, it sells you a mask, and it's like people buy these products to put them on, and that is their mask, right? Like, I'm gonna wear, this today, and that's, I'm thinking of like Clarissa Explains It All in her self-expression. I don't know if you've never seen that movie or show. It's from the 90s. But, was it Disney? It's not Disney Plus. Anyway, Clarissa Explains It All was very eclectic in her dress, wore whatever the fuck she wanted. And it was like I'm getting that Gordo, no, not Gordo, the guy from Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff, the friend who's an actor, and he like dresses to different characters every day. So that's the thing, it's like, who are you really? And that's coming into consciousness. Who do you pretend to be to appease, yourself and others around you, versus who the fuck are you really? And what cycles, again, need to be coming to an end? What seeds do you need to be planting? Trusting in this process, trusting in the divine timing, and be very compassionate with yourself. Nurture yourself. I think often, so the higher self, I really, really quick want to say this, and I am repeating myself for those of you who, if you're coming back to my readings, back to back, this energy is very present, so it's just the way it is. But the higher self, I like to think of our process here, our journey, as like the Holy Trinity for Christianity. Instead of, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, think of your Holy Trinity as your inner child, which is like all the parts of you until today, right? All of the past parts of you, all of the things that you've been through, the trauma, the good times, all of that stuff. That's like part of you. And then you have your present self, who is, deciding things, okay? And then you have your higher self or your future self. And so that saying about like, I'm not competing with anyone except who I was yesterday, I had to really, really embody that, and I have. And ever since I've embodied that saying, I have people try to compete with me, but I'm not competing. I'm in my own lane. I was a swimmer, and I also really liked swimming, so kind of think of it that way too. I just stay in my lane. I'm on my own path. It's not comparable with anybody. And so a lot of people outside of me will compare. At parts of this, until I got to this point, yeah, I compared myself with the people that I wanted to also be like other tarot readers on YouTube, mothers, other people, right? I don't know, but I'm not there anymore. So the saying also, inspire and be inspired, right? So instead of hating on other people who have the things that you don't have, vanity and pride, again, we just buy these products, and again, this is not a sustainable system. So think about the things that you can change, but instead of pretending to be something you're not, really sit with the question of like, why am I uncomfortable being authentic? There's things that you're gonna have to go through. You're going to have to be very honest with yourself, which is again why you need to be very compassionate. But this process is, I wrote a lot of my process down, and I highly suggest you do that too, just to get it out. Because like in thought, it's just energy, so it's just like circulating, and everything can trigger that. But if you write it out, then at least you're like, oh, I have something tangible, and I'm like doing this process. So ask yourself, what hurdles or what things do I need to address in order to be in my authenticity, in order to step into this higher self? And as you go, every day you again get to make decisions, right? Like, I can do this, or I can do this. The past couple of years, I've had to quit smoking, drinking coffee, drinking alcohol, smoking weed. It's been a hard few years, but here we are. And every day, getting through those addictions, I had to say, and even like codependency with other people as well, right? I have a decision. Like, I've had to learn to choose myself this past couple years. I know this is weird. I had a smaller braid in earlier. So continue to choose yourself, but ask yourself, and part of this process that's going to initiate the dark night of the soul, again, not a one-time thing. The dark night of the soul is your acknowledgement of, I don't even want to say not being perfect, because I think we're all well aware that we're not perfect, but your acknowledgement that sometimes you're really a fucking dick, right? Sometimes you're a fucking dick. And it's owning those times, right? Like, man, I was such a fucking twat waffle when I did this. And again, you don't have to do this process for anybody else. This is for you. I mean, again, we're sowing seeds for the next 2,000 years with this truth. So we can't do that unless we're honest with ourselves, unless we're honest with our process, unless we're honest with, you know, what it is we want to do while we're here, while we're alive. What impact do we want to make, or do we just want to continue to swindle people into believing things that are not true about us, right? What is it for you? And if you're watching this, it's probably that you want to step into your best version. So what would that take? Do you need to make amends with people? Do you owe people money? What would it take for you to clear your conscience? What would it take for you to feel better, to not carry so much guilt or shame or I don't know, the other shadow things? I've already made tons of playlists about shadow work, so go check those out if you want. But ask yourself that, and after you finish, you know, find the answer, start the work, right? You know, in this moment, everything is changing for the worse, and humanity is still incredibly docile about it. So we're getting to this tipping point. Are we ever going to stand up and fight, or are we going to allow these people to take over? Again, what would happen in the movie Avatar if they got to that tree? That's happened in a lot of places all over the world, and it's still happening. But now we have access to the information, which is why the other side again has introduced and force-fed us AI. It's on every app. You can't get away from it. That was not our choice. We've become reliant on these tools, and now these tools are used for, and it's going to get worse. It already has. These things have initiated in other parts of the world. Social credit scores, constant surveillance. I mean, we have constant surveillance with our cameras, right? I remember when I first got my first laptop and I put a sticker over my camera and it never glitched, but now it's really not an option. If you cover your camera, shit gets weird. It doesn't work right. There's a reason for that. So, again, you have a choice to make. Do you want to accept the truth of the world, including your own, and by accepting that, work to make things better? Or are you going to allow this to happen? Are you going to be a part of evil takeover of the entire planet? What else? That's what's happening. Okay. Let me leave you with one of these. Thanks for being here. I know this is a little chatty. My throat's getting hurty. My throat's getting sore. Alright, these are feel good. So again, rage consumes me, okay? Do something to help the little ones on the planet, the babies. Protect innocence, and including your own. So, like, go back to that point in time where your innocence was stolen. And that's the dark night of the soul. That's figuring out when that happened, and then going back, hugging that version of yourself, and every day forward, choosing you, right? Choosing yourself. Not allowing anyone to get in the way of your relationship to self again. And you get that innocence back. I'm getting that song, Enigma, Return to Innocence. Oh, it's a great song. Okay. There is beauty in simplicity. It's the little things that make life big. Choose to be happy. My favorite quote about simplicity I'm going to share: live simply so others can simply live. Love yourself first. Be open to whatever comes next, and an adventure is worthwhile. You must be present to win, challenge yourself, and be you bravely. Again, what would it take at this moment for you to step into your authenticity? Be completely honest with yourself and then take the steps to get there. And I have posted plenty of things to help you. And I'm not the only one, okay? Stronger than yesterday. You are enough. Live your dream with passion. Have a good one.